Assalamu alaikum. I hope all is well. Hope everything's going all right for everybody. I decided to make this quick video tonight because I made a personal goal that I want to just be a little bit more expressive than I have been in the past. Because I have a lot of ideas and I just always have a lot going on inside my head. So I just got to get out. People that know me personally, y'all might describe me as somebody who's like, yeah, I got a cool, quiet type demeanor. I don't really say much, but my reality is I always am thinking about something. My wheels are always turning. I go at a million miles a minute. So I thought it'd be good to really just try to get some of this out and really put it out there and share it with other people because it's a possibility that, maybe the things that I share, it may be able to provoke further conversation, but also it might be something that might be beneficial to somebody else. So earlier I had a conversation with someone and it was a really interesting conversation. And a lot of it centered around just my motivations for getting into the field of mental health and also what keeps people from seeking help when they need it. Some of the people that need help the most, they avoid it the most. And I mean, it's a good question, and I believe the answer is really nuanced. Because I don't think you're going to find an answer that applies to every single individual that might fit that category that was described. I think everybody's reasons may be different. You may find some common themes. But I just wanted to say this, if I may. It's really important that we give ourselves permission to just be human beings. What I mean by giving yourself permission to be a human being, it's important that we give ourselves permission to make mistakes, to feel things, to experience things. It's important that we give ourselves permission for all that, and to even need help and to be vulnerable. It's important that we give ourselves permission for all that. Because you can't arrive at a solution until you actually admit that you got a problem. And I think sometimes it may be really difficult for us to look at ourselves and really acknowledge that, maybe the way that we've been going about things for however long, maybe this way that we've been doing things, maybe there's a problem in that. Maybe there is something that we're doing wrong. Maybe it is something that we need to work on. We live in a society where, people just point fingers at everybody. We point fingers at our spouses. We point fingers at our friends, family. We point fingers at society at large. We point fingers at any and everybody that we can. But it's always important that we also look at ourselves, because in all these scenarios, in all these situations, we're always going to be the common denominator. And when you find yourself having challenges at home, you find yourself having challenges at work, you find yourself having challenges within your social life, well, my man, you're the common denominator. It's important that we are willing to at least acknowledge that. And it's okay. It's okay maybe that you're making mistakes. It's okay to need help sometimes. But just at least being able to acknowledge it, I think that's a huge win in and of itself. Because you can't start that process of healing, you can't start that process of self-improvement, or whatever you want to call this process. You can't start that until you're at least willing to admit that there's a problem that exists. And oftentimes we shame people. When we tell people that they need help, it's an insult most of the time. We say it in such an insulting way. We say, you need help. You got issues. You got problems. But we all got issues. We all have problems. We all got things we need to work on. We all could benefit from therapy. We all could benefit from just working on ourselves. But we throw that out there to people, like, just in a way that just sounds really bad. So when you finally find yourself in a situation where, you know what, maybe I do need to talk to somebody, you feel the shame and guilt and embarrassment. And the reality is, if you recognize that maybe you do need to talk to somebody, if you recognize that maybe I do got to go to therapy to, like, work on some stuff, that's not a loss. That's not a failure. That's nothing to be embarrassed about. You actually are winning. Because the mere fact that you've acknowledged that, now you can keep yourself from falling into that pattern of years going by and you just making the same mistakes and you're just the same person. We're not supposed to be the same person. Not the same person we was 20. We're just not supposed to just stay the same. We're supposed to grow, elevate. And when you're willing to self-evaluate, you're giving yourself a chance. So I don't think it's anything to be embarrassed about. I don't think it's anything to feel ashamed about. I think if you are a person who deep down knows that I need to change, and you're not doing anything about it, I think that's where you're losing. I think that's the loss. I think that's the sad thing. Because if you're willing to just acknowledge that maybe there's something going on that you got to work on, well, chances are things will improve eventually. But if you're not willing to acknowledge that, then you're not giving yourself any chance. You're not giving yourself a chance at all if you're not willing to acknowledge that, hey, I got to work on this. If you're just ignoring that, then what are you doing, man? So I just wanted to share that, man. I just think that piece of it is really important. Self-evaluating, self-awareness, self-evaluating. In Islam, we call that muhasiba. Taking oneself into account. You look at you sit down and you look at what you're doing well, and you look at what you need improvement on. It's a very important thing to do. And it's very empowering, and the freedom of allowing yourself to just be human. It's a wonderful thing. So I encourage you all to examine and reflect, evaluate, but most importantly, continue to be kind to yourself. Continue to be kind to others, and just make effort to take care of yourself. So that's all I really wanted to say. I'm not going to go on and on and on, at least not this time. So I hope all is well, man. Y'all all take it easy. Assalamu alaikum.